VP in the slot for with Mike Pence. Now, the final thing that I have to ask you, Ross, is this: Trump has to deliver what kind of speech, in your opinion?
I think it has to be inspirational. I think it has to be Donald Trump. I think it has to be fun. I think it has to be direct, the sort of thing he's been giving in the rallies, but with a little bit more polish. He needs to be a little bit more presidential and then just fun. He's got to show America that he is the pick to be the commander-in-chief and the leader of the free world, and can understand all and comes across as someone that understands the enormity and weight of the office of President of the United States.
I would agree. And I want to thank you, Ross, for being honest. Ross Little, he's up there with our Louisiana delegation. And thank you for the very insightful and interesting, Ross, very interesting take that you've had on this, what's going on there in our country. And listen, when next week, what I want to do is get you back on for a postmortem of what happened. And so take care of yourself. I'm listening. I'm looking at some of the things that are going on. I got some ears outside of the convention on the street. Be careful up there, because I understand that there are some people forming outside tomorrow who might want to cause trouble. So keep your eyes and ears open.
Thank you. They're keeping it safe over here.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Ross Little, folks. Ross, we'll talk to you soon.
God bless you.
Yeah. You see, folks, we have to make certain that we get the message, and we have to get the message from our candidate and the people who are there on the ground, the people who are there in Cleveland. They have to, the ones who are speaking, they need to make certain that they keep telling us and America why this candidate over the other. I'm CL. We'll be back with Ray Anthony from Florida when I return.
For so long, it's not true. Wanted a woman, never bargained for you. Lots of people talking, few of them know. Soul of a woman was created below.
CL back with you on this Wednesday evening, and I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me. There is a clip that I did at the end of the show last night, but I want to do it again here tonight. And, of course, coming up in the show will be Derek Wilburn of the Colorado delegation, waiting on Ray Anthony to check in with us from the Florida delegation. It's beginning to come to a head here. I just got a text from my sales director, Rick Keller. And, you know, Rick, I agree with you. I do believe that Newt probably will make the case for Trump tonight. And he can do it very good. He can do it very well, too. But it's the policies, the how we're going to go about getting out of certain things and getting into certain things and protecting our police officers, protecting America and our military and so forth. I want to know the policies behind that. And so I want, though, to play this clip. Before I bring on Ray Anthony, I want to play this clip. Ray, stay there with me for about 2.5 minutes. Stay there with me for about 2.5 minutes because I want to play this clip for our listening audience. Paul Harvey.
Policeman. A policeman is a composite of what all men are, I guess, a mingling of saint and sinner, dust and deity. What that really means is that they are exceptional, they are unusual, they are not commonplace. Buried under the froth is the fact, and the fact is that less than 0.5% of policemen misfit that uniform, and that is a better average than you'd find among clergymen. What is a policeman? He of all men is at once the most needed and the most wanted, a strangely nameless creature who is sir to his face and pig or worse behind his back. He must be such a diplomat that he can settle differences between individuals so that each will think he won, but if a policeman is neat, he's conceited. If he's careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch. He must make instant decisions which would require months for a lawyer, but if he hurries, he's careless. If he's deliberate, he's lazy. He must be first to an accident, infallible with a diagnosis. He must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, tie splints, and above all, be sure the victim goes home without a limp. The police officer must know every gun, draw on the run, and hit where it doesn't hurt. He must be able to whip two men twice his size and half his age without damaging his uniform and without being brutal. If you hit him, he's a coward. If he hits you, he's a bully. The policeman from a single human hair must be able to describe the crime, the weapon, the criminal, and tell you where the criminal is hiding, but if he catches the criminal, he's lucky. If he doesn't, he's a dunce. He runs files and writes reports until his eyes ache to build a case against some felon who will get dealed out by a shameless Seamus. The policeman must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy, and a gentleman. And, of course, he'll have to be a genius because he'll have to feed a family on a policeman's salary.
Yeah, he'll have to be a genius as well because he has to feed a family on a policeman's salary. Joining me on the line now is Ray Anthony. Ray with the Florida delegation there, and he is a millennial, folks. What's the experience like for you there on the floor of the Republican National Convention, Ray?
Well, I can't say it's extremely exciting. It's something that I never imagined I would be here. I mean, I'm the grandson of Cuban exiles. I mean, there are people who lost their country, who lived in a totalitarian system, and just 2 generations later, I'm able to participate in one of the most important events in current affairs and global affairs right now, which is nominating the next president of the United States of America. And it's very exciting. I mean, just meeting people from all over the country and really getting to share our differences and our opinions about what's going on right now. A very exciting time.
Ain't that America something to see, man? I tell you. And you know what I really love about what you have just said? Here you are, the seed of Cuban immigrants. And just 2 generations ago, this was not possible for you, for your family. But there you are. You are a living, breathing testament that America is the greatest success story the world has ever known. Would you agree with me, Ray?
Oh, of course. I mean, I think that a lot of people underestimate this country. Only in America. I mean, can we have all these people from all over the world? And we see them in our movement, in the conservative movement. People like Ted Cruz, people like Nikki Haley, people like Marco Rubio. people who, are not supposed to be quote unquote conservative yet embrace it are some of the best speakers on behalf of conservatism in our country right now.
When we make
Only in America.
When we make the case for Donald Trump and when we make the case for republicanism in this country, can we then point to, because I used to live in Tampa, Florida, had many friends and acquaintances of Cuban extraction that were there in Tampa, and all of them, most of them, I won't say all, but most of them were conservatives. Why is that, in your opinion, Ray?
Well, I think it's just moving your country. It's being part of a system which is what the left wants to implement in our country. It's being part of everything that Bernie Sanders and his kin preach, and living it, having lived it, having the result of socialism, which is having your property stolen, your business stolen, only being able to make X amount of money, having your political rights and say being stripped, piece by piece. So I think having come from a socialist country, and I think there's so many people from former communist states like Poland and Russia, et cetera, that also share it the same way that we do. And, talking about Donald Trump, I mean, he wasn't my first choice. He wasn't my second choice. But he is the Republican nominee. And I think it's important, for those of us, and people across the country who maybe supported another candidate, to get behind a nominee. The alternative is Hillary Clinton. And, hey, you know what? I disagree with Trump's style, and I disagree with a lot of things he says. But Hillary Clinton is someone who I disagree with 150% of the time.
Amen.
Have Hillary Clinton in the White House.
Amen to that. And, Ray, this is what I want to ask you in the 2.5 minutes that I have left with you, because I need your opinion on this. Mike Pence. I met him about 6 years ago when he first became a congressman. But I think he's a solid guy and all of that. In your opinion, do we have the right guy in the VP slot?
I think in terms of conservative creed and his pedigree, and in terms of conservatism, I think we have a great candidate in Mike Pence. He is someone who has fought for women and girls, pushing through strict rape laws in Indiana to prosecute those people who have committed that atrocity. I think it's so important, CL, to have someone who's a steadfast conservative. Because remember, Donald Trump is someone who was a Democrat, became an independent, is now a Republican, and may criticize Trump for not having that conservative pedigree. And I think we have that in someone like Mike Pence. Of course, I would have preferred it had been just to shake up the ticket, maybe a woman, maybe a minority candidate. It's not mandatory, but I think it would definitely shake it up and eliminate the Democrats' false narrative that the conservative movement is only for old white men.
Ray Anthony, Florida delegation on the floor of the GOP convention. He is the descendant of Cuban immigrants. America is a great place to be, a great place to build. Thank you so much, Ray Anthony, for being with us here this evening. Hey, you take care of yourself. We'll talk to you next week to do a postmortem on the convention. How about it?
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. An awesome show.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
CL, we'll be back with you here in just a little bit, and we got more to talk about coming up. And, of course, we'll take your calls. 320-5335-318. 320-5335 is the number to call. Be right back.
Night falls and I'm alone.
Back with you. CL, the CL Bryant Show is what you're listening to, and you're with a bunch of folks across the Fruited Plains who are listening to this show, and we want to thank all of you in the Arklatex area here in Shreveport, Bossier area, in southern Arkansas, East Texas, right here in the immediate region for being there, and of course all of our people throughout the Fruited Plains in the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known. And I do believe that this week is a week that I certainly, and this is my deepest, sincerest hope for this convention. It hasn't disappointed yet, but there's a pop that has to come out of this. There's a pop that has to come out of this, Republicans. There's a pop, conservatives, that must come out of this convention. And the reason why there has to be a certain popping, a real strength that comes out of this convention, pardon me, and a united Republican Party when we come out of this convention is because next week in Philadelphia, you're going to have the Democrats with a full court press, all out assault on stealing the ball. It's 40 minutes. It's going to be 4 days of hell. With Nolan Richards up there in Arkansas, former coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks basketball teams. You talk about 40 minutes of hell. That's what next week's going to be when the Democrats launch their convention. And the reason I was saying earlier is that we need to find the message. Each night there's been a different theme. The first night, make America work. Make America work again. I think each night there has been a different theme, and it has to be this. Make America safe again. Monday night, make America safe again was Monday night, and then last night, make America work again. Tonight is make America first again. The reason they laid out those themes is so that you could have a methodical game plan, a methodical way to attack the enemy, because each and every one of these are points that you can hit the Democrats hard on. America has been very unsafe in these last 8 years. America has been out of work in these last 8 years, and America is not leading from in front. We haven't been first in these last 8 years. There was a method to the way they laid this out, but my problem is that some of the speakers didn't get the memo that there's a reason why you laid it out like that, so that you could point by point present your case as to why you put the Democrats on the run and keep them out of office. But believe me, next week, and this is one thing, if you have never seen them in action, you'll see them in action next week. They know how to stay on message. And so that's what we're going to have to do, because there's an attack on conscience, there's an attack on religious freedom, and there is one thing that Donald Trump said a couple of days ago after, in fact, he said it on Monday morning. He said that America is becoming a divided crime scene. And that is true. And it's going to be a crime if, in fact, we don't get on message and come out, get on point, get on message, and come out of this convention unified. Because, folks, believe me, next week the Dems are going to go into Philadelphia and they are going to be unified on message. And believe me, they're going to be giving away everything. Bernie Sanders is the reason I know they're going to be giving away everything, and the reason I know that is so appealing to American young people in particular is because Bernie Sanders has signed on to the Hillary camp, and Bernie was wanting to give away everything. So next week, it is going to be the wholesale sell out of America, American principles. They're going to give away everything. So you just, hey, you keep an ear to who's speaking tonight. You keep an ear to what is going on tonight, because it's important,
Mark,
that we are on point, that we're on message. Mark's on the line. Mark, thank you for listening. Thank you for calling. What's on your mind, friend?
Good evening, CL. Love your show as always. I'm amused at all this talk of plagiarism that the desperate Democrats are looking to levy at the Trumps. They can't find anything else. They're scared to death that they're going to be appealing. And what occurred to me today is, who is plagiarizing what? If, in fact, some of the things that Mrs. Trump said had been included in the speech that Michelle Obama gave in 2008, who in this audience believes for a minute that liberal Democrats really believe those ideas? Do they really believe in self-reliance? Do they really believe in hard work, and if you work hard in America, you'll get what's owed to you? They've been preaching the exact opposite of that for decades. And so the plagiarism is in the idea, not in the words. And that needs to be emphasized, because everyone knows that that's all, well, I won't use the term for it, nonsense coming out of their mouths. They say it because they know that their beliefs, their extreme beliefs, are the minority, so they have to say all these nice, proper things, but they don't really believe them. And that is, in fact, the plagiarism.
That is a very good point, Mark. Let me tell you why, and you know why. But let me say this to the audience. When we talk about, my word is my bond, that was part of what they're saying. Melania plagiarized from Michelle Obama. You work hard for what you get, and all of those types of things. Mark, you're right on, man. The word of this administration has not, the red line in the sand. Okay, yeah, and working hard. No, they're wanting to give everything away. Obamacare is,
anybody that works hard and has become prosperous, they have a grudge against. And they're finding ways to take their wealth by tax or regulation, and that's always been their agenda. So to say these things, I mean, I roll my eyes at it, and it's not going to go anywhere. But it's amusing to me that people just let this blow over them as if they really believe those things.
It is funny. Mark, I'm up against the break, man, but always great to hear your insight. And thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
I'm CL. Yeah, who's plagiarizing who? Great question, great call, Mark. Be right back with you with Derek Wilburn of the Colorado delegation.